Hey, y'all, Little Drummer Boy here. I hope you're having a great day. And today I want to do a book review of a book that means a whole lot to me, probably more than any other book except the Bible itself. And this book is full of Bible quotes and Jesus quotes, although a lot of people that aren't familiar with the Bible don't realize that, but it is. And this is the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book, written in 1939, 4 years after Dr. Bob and Bill W. started AA in Akron, Ohio in 1935. And this book is just great. It's mainly about your relationship with God, because your relationship with God, a power greater than yourself, and helping others with alcohol who are alcoholics. Um, that is how we find recovery. And so it's largely about your relationship with God, and then it's got the 12 traditions of AA, the 8 principles, and it's got, well, my favorite part is the testimonials. If you are an alcoholic, or if you wonder if you might be an alcoholic, read the testimonials, and you will see. If you are, you will recognize so many things that they say. I mean, it's almost like I'm reading my own diary when I read a lot of these testimonials. Some of them are different than mine. I wasn't. Of course, this was written, 81 years ago now, and things have changed a lot. But I'm a history buff, so I love reading, the way things were back then. But like they called bars gin mills, and I had a friend who was in the Navy in World War II, and he talked about getting thrown out of a gin mill in Hawaii, and up against the fire hydrant and hurt his back one time. But anyway, uh, so it's a little dated, but the truths in it are timeless. And um, like I said, I was never much of a liquor drinker. I had a few bad experiences with that early on, falling and busting my head or laying in my puke when I'm 18. So I learned about liquor early on, and I was scared of it, but I was always a beer drinker, and it progressed. I probably wasn't a full-blown alcoholic until my 40s. I'll be 50 this year. But I think I stayed single too long, because usually the men in my family grew up and married out of drinking and, carousing and just acting a fool. They would marry and, marry a good Christian woman, settle down, have kids, quit drinking, But with me, I never married. And I think, if you're single for a long time, I do think you have a good shot at becoming an alcoholic, just due to circumstances and the game. But anyway, um, so the testimonials in here are so great, and let's just go through a little bit of the big book, and you'll see that I mark up my books. Those of you that have seen my book reviews will. Let's go through the contents real quick. I always do that in my book reviews, but you guys know I mark up my books a lot. Um, First, there's a preference in the forwards to the different editions. The doctor's opinion. Bill's story. Is there a solution? More about alcoholism. We agnostics. How it works into action. Working with others. To wise. The family afterward. Excuse me. To employers, a vision for you. Physician, heal thyself. A teenager's decision. Rum, Radio, and Rebellion. That was about a DJ that was an alcoholic. Any Day Was Wash Day. That's about a lady that liked to do her drinking at the laundromat where she could be away from her husband. It might have been worse. Um, a Flower of the South. Calculating the Cost. Stars Don't Fall. Growing Up All Over Again. Unto the Second Generation. Me, an Alcoholic. Dr. Alcoholic Addict. The 5-time loser wins. Promoted to chronic. Join the tribe. Belle of the Bar. Jim's story. Our Southern friend. The prisoner free. Desperation drinking. The career officer. Another chance. He who loses his life. Freedom from bondage. AA taught him to handle sobriety. And it's a great book. And if you know anybody that's an alcoholic, I would just, I bought this book for a friend, Christmas a year ago. Christmas a year ago, I bought this book for a friend who I care a lot about, who I know struggles with alcoholism, and I would say I would give one of mine away, but mine are very personal and all marked up. But also, if you just like a good novel, or well, it's not even a novel because this is nonfiction. This stuff is true. So if you just like a good book for entertainment, I would encourage you to read the AA Big Book. Or if you want a good book for a devotional study, I would encourage you to read the AA Big Book, because the AA Big Book is a great devotional book, and it's about God. There's a few things that I don't like about AA and the AA Big Book, but very few. One of them is, okay, if you read into it, it's obvious that Dr. Bob and Bill W. were Christians, and most likely of the Catholic kind, because they talk about priests and nuns who helped them a lot with AA, and they quote the Bible a lot. And so I think one of them was agnostic before finding God through AA, and a lot of people come to God through AA, y'all. But there's also an agnostic early on in AA who had a problem with the concept of God. And so he was the one who had put in the readings, God, a God of our understanding. And I marked that out of my AA books, because if we could understand God, we would be God. We're not supposed to understand God. We are human and he is God. That's where faith comes in. We have faith for when we can't understand what's going on in our lives or in the world. That's where faith comes in. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. And there's so many things about my life and the world and even the Bible that I don't understand or have a clue about and won't understand until I get to heaven. But I take those things by faith. And Jesus said it's by childlike faith that you come to him. Even as an adult, you don't understand everything. You just trust him. You just fully surrender and trust him. So I don't like that part about a God of our understanding. Also, in one of the readings it says, we are not saints. I think what they meant to say was we are not perfect, because there's nobody walking the earth that is perfect. We all are sinners, and if you've been born again, which Jesus said you have to be in John 3:3, and we've been forgiven, and you're a sinner saved by grace, because we still sin, we still make mistakes, but we're forgiven for it. But yeah, where it said we actually are saints, that's one of the tenets of the Christian religion, is if you've been forgiven of your sins by Jesus' vicarious death on the cross, which we celebrate this week at Good Friday and Easter, if he's forgiven you of your sins, then you are a saint. You're in the priesthood of believers. That doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means you're one of his elect, one of his chosen, and that you've been forgiven. It means that you can be pure through him because of his atonement on the cross for you. You can be forgiven. He said in the Bible, though your sins be as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they be as crimson, they will be as wool. So actually, if you've been forgiven and born again through Jesus Christ, you actually are a saint. But I think it's just it's semantics. I don't want to major on the minors. I think they were trying to say, and I'm paraphrasing them, we are not perfect. I think that's what they meant, because when you think of a saint, or a lot of people think of a saint, they think of a perfect person. But anyway, y'all, the AA Big Book, this book has saved millions of lives, probably more lives, and brought more people to God than any other book than the Bible itself. So I highly recommend it. 5 stars, and I highly recommend Alcoholics Anonymous. And I'll be sharing this in social media. Oh, and if any of you need a meeting, there's a guy on YouTube, because right now we can't have meetings with the coronavirus crap going around. or at least the panic over it. But there is a guy on YouTube named. Hang on, people think this is a drag strip. Um, there's a guy on YouTube named Sober James who is doing meetings right now online at 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. on YouTube Eastern Standard Time and 7 p.m. on Zoom Eastern Standard Time. So anyway, and I'm getting resourceful. I'm watching a lot of speaker meetings on YouTube. Like I watched Eric Clapton and this guy that was a gangbanger who became an actor after he got sober. And I can't remember his name right now. Eddie Trujulo or Trudrelo. I can't pronounce his last name. It's like Spanish. But anyway, he is hilarious. One of the most funny speaker meetings I've ever heard, in person or otherwise. So yeah, there's YouTube resources. There are meetings on YouTube, and it's not breaking their anonymity because they have agreed to put their story out there. So anyway, I hope y'all have a blessed day. 5 stars for the Alcoholics Anonymous Big Book. And I'll see you next time. Bye.